Welcome to the Tides of Avarice, the latest DLC for X4 Foundations. This is the preview build, not the final version. Today we're going to talk about the world of Tides of Avarice and the scrap economy. So if you remember in Cradle of Humanity, the Terrans got their own little kind of mini economy. Now, this is nothing like that, but it is a little different. So if you've been paying attention to the 5.0 beta, scrap has become an important part of the universe. And the factions that are introduced here also kind of take advantage of all that scrap. So just a quick, this will be spoiler free, we're just going to talk about it. So you can see that manticores are actually pretty common. And wrecks are too. Let me see if I can find any. You can usually see a manticore playing around with some scrap. Let's see, do we see any? Not at the moment. We'll look at in a little bit. But it's really cool to see how well they use their scrap. But let's take a look at the factions we're dealing with in this modern DLC. So we got the Vigor Syndicate. This is kind of the big one. They are enemies with pretty much everybody, except for the other one here. They reside in the Windfall sectors. They are kind of the pirates. Their promotions are like Enforcer and Capo. So they're the very organized crime kind of family here. And the second is the Riptide Rakers. So their police authority is the Vigor Syndicate, and they reside in the new Avarice systems, which are a bit special. We're not going to go into that in this video, though. The Riptide, kind of just enemies with the pirates and the normal suspects here. And they just kind of hang around and do their own thing, which we'll get into at some point. But now let's look at the scrap economy, like I kind of mentioned here. So we have a scrap processing facility. Let's take a look at that real quick. So if you're not familiar with how scrap works, raw scrap turns into scrap metal and energy cells can turn into hull parts and claytronics. So they can be an input to that. So this is kind of how these factions really build ships and things like that. Now, they still need other things because, electronics, but they can generate their own scrap. Their own hull parts and claytronics that way. Let's go find one of their wharf. So we can look at their wharf here. Again, it's mainly just hull parts and claytronics to build things in their fabrication bay. Now you'll notice this protection here. We'll go over that at some point later. And let's take a look at, while we're here, buy ships. So the ships available here are kind of limited. So you can build a Manticore or some of the new ships. So a Condensate, which is what that Protection is, or the Raleigh Courier. We'll just take a look at this real quick. Alright, so this is what we're just going to kind of build out something real quick. Argon Shield. Little preset. Add to shopping list. Confirm order. And it's getting built. And again, if we look at, let's look at the information here of this. There are no advanced electronics and things here. So they can build a lot out of those materials for their ships. And just to kind of reinforce that, let's look at what the Argon Wharf looks like. It needs all of these to go into the fabrication bay. So the new factions can do a lot with scrap, I think is the point. The verbose point I'm trying to make here. And again, let's confirm that. Yep, it just needs 3 things to go in there. So they can build quite a lot without all those options, but they have really limited build options. Let's take a look at the extra large too. See, just hull parts, Claytronics. And if we're going to buy ships here, we'll go through these at some other point, but you know, you can build a builder here with just hull parts and Claytronics, including shields and everything. But again, that's the only extra large this one can build, and they can build a miner and a scavenger. So this is I don't want to do this video now, but I'll give you a quick look at these. These are cool looking ships, very industrial. I like it, but we'll do something for them later. So that is kind of how this economy works. It's all about scrap and the processing of scrap, but their build options are very limited. But that makes sense, right? Because a pirate economy might not shouldn't work as you'd expect with all the different pieces. But here you can see one of the AI ships getting some scrap there. So you'll constantly see these pirate ships bringing back ships to process for scrap, which is really cool. Like I've seen them, Xenon, Talati ships, all sorts of ships we end up seeing being brought back for scrap, which is, I think, pretty fun. Anyway, that is how the economy here works. And just if you're still here, I just want to I'm gonna line up a nice screenshot here. That's kind of cool. I like it. Might be a little too bright, but we'll go with it. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.